Hello friends, it's Chops and welcome to another Chops vlog. I survived COVID, much to what I'm sure is many of y'all's disappointment. I was blessed with a relatively mild case of it. It really wrecked some friends and family of mine over the past several years, so I was a little worried that it was gonna completely destroy me. But I seem to have been one of the lucky few that got a relatively mild case of the sniffles, basically. So that was very pleasant, and I am back. I'd say fully recovered. I guess I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, I feel a little tired still, like I've been sick for a week, but otherwise pretty good, man. We are back in retail for a moment. You'll notice this is Dark Moon Fair. It's Dark Moon Fair time. If you are relatively new to free to play, you've just kind of jumped on recently to check it out, see what's going on. It's Dark Moon Fair is a huge way to make a lot of progress very quickly for free to play. It's a good time. It's a good time for free to play, man. You want to hang out, you want to get in here, you want to do your profession quests to get your profession level ups, which is what I'm going to do because we're only 2 months away from finishing Legion Engineering. Or I guess technically 1 month away, because once I do this, I'll only have one more Dark Moon Fair to do. That's pretty exciting. So yeah, you've got a good opportunity to polish off some of the professions that you can't otherwise max out without the profession skill ups from the Dark Moon Fair quests. You have a ton of pets and mounts and toys that you can work on collecting via the Dark Moon Fair. There's a huge number of daily quests. So if you're working towards your several thousand daily quests completed achievements, that's a good time to do these because you can knock out, I think it's almost 10 a day or something like that at the Dark Moon Fair. Yeah, it's a great way to knock out a ton of progress every month. So make sure that if you're relatively new to free to play, you're getting in here and getting the Dark Moon Fair taken care of. Yeah, so that's we're done with that. I'm gonna run over here and do a little bit of cooking because I need to level BFA cooking via Dark Moon Fair as well. So it's another thing that we need to make sure that we do. Oh darn. Yeah, one thing you're gonna want to do is before you come to the Dark Moon Fair is get bags of flour for the cooking quest, which I forgot to grab, so we're gonna go grab those real quick. Also, if you're not familiar, there's an arena right there that will drop a chest I think it's every 2 or 3 hours. And if you win that chest, you get the Pit Fighter trinket, which for certain classes is really quite good. It's plus 13 stam, gives you a big mastery proc chance. So pick that up. Yeah, so I'm gonna knock out these Dark Moon Fair quests to get my profession skill ups because that's the only way we can do that, and we're making progress on the retail free to play again. But what I wanted to talk to you about last week actually is when I wanted to talk to you about it, but I was sick and couldn't really think straight. So what I'm going to talk to you about this week actually pertains to Classic. So I'm actually going to pop over to Classic after I get done with this Dark Moon Fair stuff and work on my 39 Twink while I chat to you guys about that. So I'll meet you over there. All right, welcome back. This is Classic, man. This is my 39 Twink. I don't think I've actually shown her off, but we are, I guess you could say, pre-heirloom bis. We're pretty close to knocking it out in terms of being ready for just heirlooms. We've got the Gloves of Holy Might, Ogron Sash, Legguards of the Vault, Iron Heel Boots. I got an Assault Band that's kind of just hanging out till I get a PvP ring. We've got a Aquamarine Signet of the Bear. Yeah, knock that out. Raging Zerker's Helm, Medal of Courage, Revlosh Shoulders of the Monkey. It's just what I've got so far. The shoulders are going to get replaced with heirlooms, so it doesn't really matter. Scorpashi Cape, Scarlet Chest Piece. great for some FC work here, but that'll get replaced with heirloom eventually. Revlosh arm guards of the monkey. I also want some Revlosh arm guards of power, but monkey's good. There's some, get some crit from Agi in classic, so that works. Got my lumbering ogre axe. Again, just waiting to replace this with an heirloom. I'm not really going to go after a Pendulum of Doom unless one just kind of falls in my lap or something. Like it's such a good deal, I just can't say no. So we're just replacing this with an heirloom. Then Whirling Steel Axes here, and then we're working on the AGM, man. We're making progress. I've got 4 of them. Still need 8 to go. We'll get the AGM, and then need to do some PvP to get the PvP trinket, and we'll be good to go here. It'll be great. But right now we're working on leveling professions because Wrath introduced profession passives. So your mileage may vary, right? You may want to do something else in Wrath, but for me it was take skinning, because you get 12 crit rating out of maxing skinning, and then take herbalism to get lifeblood, which is a heal over time, very short, like 5-second heal over time. Those seem like the best ones to grab, so that's what we grabbed. If I remember correctly from when I played Wrath 39s originally, those were the professions of choice. So that's what we're going with, at least for warriors. It might be different for other classes. I don't know. Engineering gives some great benefits, and you get to use grenades, and then also you need engineering for like green lenses. So if you're a class that wears a green lens of healing or a green lens of Shadow Wrath or something, you're going to need engineering. And then I think like some classes, no, I think that's really it. I think most people go engineering, skinning, or herbalism, or some combination of those. Anyways, that's what we're working on today, but that's not really what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was sort of an ancillary thing that's hovering in the background a little bit of the whole WoW Classic experience, but predominantly around one particular feature of Wrath Classic, and that's the random dungeon finder queue. They aren't, whoops, wrong button. They aren't doing it in Wrath. They're not going to implement the random dungeon finder queue. They'll have a random, like a group finder tool, which is neat, but no random dungeon finder tool at all. So you're not going to be able to just queue up for a random dungeon and then get put in a group and teleported to that dungeon to go do it, which is going to make doing dungeons and even heroics a bit more of a chore, like it is in like the original vanilla game and the Burning Crusade. And there is much consternation about this in Twink circles, because when you use the random dungeon finder tool, you got a satchel, and that satchel could reward some loot. And for a lot of classes, various items from those satchels were best in slot. So, for instance, like there you could get a ring from them, and Ring of the Soldier was best in slot for warriors for one of their rings. So those, I guess, won't be a thing anymore, which is fine. Whatever, we'll adapt. But there has been some consternation that people really want the random dungeon finder tool in Wrath because it existed in original Wrath. That was when it was introduced. And Blizzard's kind of putting their foot down and saying no. And there are many cries from people saying, but why won't you listen to the community? And this is this constant refrain online around the game design in retail and around game design decisions in Classic, is that Blizzard just doesn't listen to their community. And by gosh, if they listened to their community, we would have a perfect game. And so what I wanted to talk to you about today was, and this will come as no shock to longtime viewers, Blizzard actually shouldn't listen to us at all. Unless there's like a serious bug or glitch that's causing gameplay issues that we found that Blizzard didn't, which happens sometimes. Players tend to have more quality assurance hours available to them than Blizzard's payroll does. Just kind of a fact of game development. But other than that, Blizzard shouldn't be listening to the community for game design decisions. Coffee break. And if you've ever worked in a field where you have to do some kind of design or some kind of development of a product, or work on making changes to how something works or how something looks, or how it's presented to people, you know that one of the most frustrating parts of that process is when everybody who isn't a designer or a developer of that particular type of project, or an engineer or anything like that, if you aren't that type of person, or that somebody's not that type of person, but they definitely want to have input on whatever it is that the designers and developers and engineers and stuff are making, you know that it's extremely frustrating when they do that, because they always have these grand ideas and they want these ideas to be implemented. And, one or two people, not really a problem. Maybe they see something you don't. But when it's a whole lot of people, you start getting this problem called design by committee. And design by committee is the worst possible way to do anything, because everybody has their little input and everybody wants their input to be represented, or they feel like they're being left out of the process or whatever. And oftentimes people have a lot of priorities for what they want to see out of a product or what they want to see out of a design that may be at odds with the priorities of the designers or the developers or the engineers or something, or they might cause problems down the line that person's not thinking of, or it might cause unforeseen problems by introducing a bunch of new factors that people can get at things with. So that is to say that, like, if we were to design a game, the last thing I would want is thousands of people all expecting us to listen to them when we design that game. And that's when we say Blizzard should listen to the community, what we're saying is that you should let the player base help you guys design the game. You should let us make design decisions for you, because we're going to tell you what we want and what kind of game we want to play, and you're going to build it. And that, like, prima facie, that seems like a good thing, right? Like, your players are telling you what kind of game you want, and then you can go out and build that game for them, and they're going to be happy with it because this is the game that they wanted. But I'm here to tell you, folks, a lot of the things that players ask for and got are a lot of the things that have ruined or got done away with the things that they say they miss. So one of those instances of things that had, like, sort of unintended consequences that we didn't think about, but we definitely asked for, was players asked for something like the random dungeon finder tool, because it is a real pain in the ass to sit around in a capital city and just be typing, looking for 2 more Scarlet Monastery, need healer and DPS or whatever for like 3 hours until you find somebody. And then once you find somebody, you have to trudge out to Scarlet Monastery, which is a long ways away from any Alliance stuff. And that's just that's a bit of a pain. And so we were like, man, it would be cool if, like, we could just click into a button. We could be automatically grouped with 3 DPS, a tank, and a healer, and then it just ports us to that dungeon. And this sounds like a good idea. You think to yourself, man, that just really makes it more efficient to get our dungeon runs in, right? And then in order to encourage people to use this tool, Blizzard gave us the satchel rewards. You go through and complete a dungeon with a group, you get this free piece of gear, which guarantees you a piece of gear even if you didn't get a gear drop from the dungeon, which makes people feel like their time is rewarded. And this is a thing that we wanted. We wanted to feel like our time investment was rewarded, that it was fairly easy and efficient for us to get groups, to get gear, to make progress. But then we also turn around, on down the line a couple years later and bemoan the lack of world PvP anymore. Or we talk about how, like, when we're out in the world, it feels empty. We don't see as many people out in the world. And well, that's because nobody really has to go out in the world anymore, right? Like you can just level by sitting in a capital city and running dungeons through the random dungeon finder tool. Why? And it's actually really fast to do that. The bonus experience from using the random dungeon finder tool is good. You get the guaranteed loot drops. You level your character. By the time you're at the end of the game, you're in decent enough gear to start doing end game dungeons, and you never had to do anything else. So this thing that we wanted, this random dungeon finder tool, and that we demanded that Blizzard put in for us, they listened to the community and they developed this design feature, ended up making the game worse, right? Like, it made it a worse MMO. And so we don't really think about that as players. And another example is flying mounts, right? Like, we thought, oh man, it's going to be so cool. Wouldn't it be cool to have flying mounts and yada, yada, yada? And Blizzard put them in the game. And even Blizzard recognizes and has said before that was actually a huge mistake. They really shouldn't have introduced flying because it minimizes the world, right? You feel like you're not passing through a world. You feel like you're just kind of passing over it. And it does. It degraded the experience of feeling like you were immersed in a world. That's why they do that annoying thing now, where you have to like get an exploration achievement and level to end game and maybe finish a bit of a quest campaign to get flying in the latest expansions, because they want you to not have flying, because they want you to feel immersed in the world. Which is to say, a thing that we asked for and thought would be cool ended up backfiring. And so I think that Blizzard maybe has learned from that, or Blizzard maybe has at least embraced that to some degree, at least in making design decisions for Classic. I am hoping that they have realized that giving the players everything that they want or everything that they ask for oftentimes backfires, and it creates situations in which the game might feel more convenient, but it definitely feels like a worse game. And so maybe they're gonna say, we're not listening to the community on this one, and they are right not to. We as players can always put in our input. And I think that that's important, but the best games are always games designed by game designers that they want to play, right? And they have this collected, solid vision of a game experience that they want to have that isn't a nebulous collection of ideas and desires from a huge variety of streamers, basically. Because when we talk about, we have to be very honest about this, when we talk about listening to the community, ultimately what we're saying is there's a few voices in the community, a handful of popular YouTubers and streamers, and then there are thousands of watchers who are just parroting sycophantically whatever it is those people are saying. And that's what we talk about when people say listen to the community. What they really mean is listen to Asmongold's fans. Listen to anyway, whatever. Listen to his fans. And those guys are they have some good takes on the game. I don't really pay too much attention to them. Twinking and Asmongold don't have the greatest history. But I think that they've got good takes on the game and that they have genuine frustrations. But I don't want to play a game designed by Asmongold, and I'm fairly certain Asmongold doesn't want to play a game designed by me. I think what we both want is to play a well-constructed game designed by a design team that has a coherent vision of a game experience that they want to have. And those have always been the best games, is when you can tell that like the game designers are making a game that they want, right? That they have envisioned, that they're putting together, and we are simply enjoying their vision. That's always the most satisfying gaming experience to me. So yeah, that is a roundabout way to say, look, man, I know that at times it feels like Blizzard isn't responding to the needs of their community. And that's quite a bit different than whining that Blizzard should listen to us about these design features that if only they would put in, this would be a really good game. And no, it wouldn't be. No, Blizzard shouldn't listen to us. And when they do ignore us, they are right to ignore us. That is, it is good for the game that they don't listen to us. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out to the end, as always. And I will talk to you all next time.